Hello, Chaplain Wismar here, coming to you from Joint Task Force Bravo at Soto Cano Air Base in Honduras. At the request of the commander, I'd like to share with you some thoughts and a few tips about an important subject, a subject which has both its great joys and its inevitable stresses: reintegration back home. Since you've been away, things have changed. You have changed, and so have your loved ones waiting for you back home. The purpose of this brief reflection is to help you consider the realities and the stresses of this change and to make any needed adjustments to your attitude, your thoughts, or your behavior before heading back home. Before looking at some important relationship specifics for you to consider, I'd like to focus in together on a few general insights, the first of which is your expectations. As you reintegrate back home, if you ever begin to feel angry or frustrated, ask yourself, how realistic are my expectations in this situation? Am I giving myself and others enough time and space to adjust? Am I trying to force readjustment to happen rather than being patient and allowing it to happen at a comfortable pace? Realistic expectations. Another important general insight is that reintegration it's a process. Remember that readjusting to home life and work life is a process, not an event. As you reintegrate into your family, work, and social environments, it makes sense to give yourself and others the time and space they may need. If your expectations are realistic and you understand that reintegration is a gradual process, you'll probably find that in a few weeks, things will get back to a comfortable pattern once again. Now, moving on to some relationship specifics. First, let's take a look at the possible effects of change on the key relationship in your life, your relationship with your spouse or partner, that central person in your life. There are quite a few common upsets that military couples can experience in the reintegration process. Here is a rapid fire of some of the typical concerns that your partner who remained behind may be thinking. If I managed the finances differently, I'll be criticized. If I discipline the children differently, my partner will say that they're too spoiled or aren't safe. If I've developed new hobbies or spent time with friends, I may be accused of being selfish or neglecting the home or of being unfaithful. And was my partner faithful? If I've pursued a career or higher education, I may be accused of changing or thinking I'm too good for my partner. If I've managed the upkeep of the home differently, I may not have done as good a job as my partner would have. I've learned how to live on my own, and now my partner will come home and tell me what to do, as if I'm not smart enough without them. My partner will want to change everything back to the way it was, even though I've learned new and perhaps better ways of doing things. My partner will want to rule the house as if I don't count anymore, even after all I've done in their absence. The same sorts of concerns, but from your perspective, may be, I hope my partner didn't mess up the finances. I hope they didn't let the kids get away with murder so that now I look like the bad guy or gal when I come home and have to restore law and order. I hope they won't want to keep spending all their time with their friends. I'll feel left out. Maybe my partner will have developed new skills or hobbies that I don't know anything about, and they won't want to spend as much time with me anymore. My partner perhaps has grown smarter or more educated and won't need me quite as much. Maybe I'll come home to a home in disrepair and I'll have to fix everything. Or just as unnerving, maybe things will be even better than when I left. Maybe my partner won't take my suggestions because they're used to doing things their own way now. And what if I don't fit in anymore? or I don't feel needed to the same extent that I used to. Did any of these concerns jump out at you as an issue that you or your partner may need to consider? All of these are typical concerns and normal things that people worry about. But they can be navigated successfully when both you and your partner exercise mutual goodwill and respect. Take it slow. Listen to one another and give one another the benefit of the doubt. Give your partner the time and the consideration to tell you which, if any, of these kinds of concerns they may have. And you also need to be allowed the time and consideration to share your concerns as well. We all have hot button issues that are much more apt to set us off. Perhaps some of yours were on the list that you just heard. Do not be automatically set off by what your partner tells you. Just like you know their buttons, you are probably well aware of your own buttons as well. It's up to you to choose how you are going to react in any situation. You need to realize this in advance and purposefully choose not to passively overreact to a hot button issue, but choose to actively use restraint. It will be a great help to both of you if you just take things slow and actively listen to one another. This does not mean hearing Charlie Brown teacher voice and thinking of the next thing that you want to say while your partner is speaking. This means consciously allowing your partner to state their concern, give reasons, share the way that they feel, explain what they want or what it is they are looking for from you. And then, and this is the step that can really make the difference, you need to be able to share back exactly what you heard them say in your own words. When you do this, it helps you to take things slow, and most importantly, it lets your partner know that you are truly listening to them, hearing their concern, that you care about them, and that you want to work together with them on whatever the issue may be. Keep your defenses down and try not to be judgmental, and you'll find that your partner will follow your lead. A little understanding and compassion may not only snuff out that little spark that can easily ignite into an inferno of trouble, but instead do the exact opposite and bring your relationship to a greater sense of intimacy and safety. This ties back around to your expectations and acknowledging that reintegration is a process. Take things slow and expect that it's going to take a little time to become reacquainted with your spouse. This may be true sexually as well. If both of you have a high libido or are on the same wavelength sexually and reacquaintance in this area is not an issue, that is fantastic, and indeed it is a blessing. However, if your partner is not on the same wavelength sexually, then you are definitely going to need to be patient and be willing to approach the subject and talk about it openly together. Otherwise, sexual frustration is one of those areas that can produce a lot of negative energy, which unfortunately is easily misdirected or channeled into other issues, usually hot button issues. Work together to keep that energy where it should be, focused in on your relationship in a positive way. Put in the necessary effort with your partner and communicate to them just how much you care about them. Now let's quickly look at another key relationship, your relationship with your kids. There are lots of things which can influence the way your child may react to your return. Their age, their personality, the strength of their memories, and the way that adult family members react to your return as well. With kids, regardless of age, but especially if they're very young, the key is slow and steady. Let them see you for a while and get used to you again, especially before you consider disciplining them. The number one rule that I'd like you to remember with regard to kids is the way that a child reacts to you does not necessarily mean anything about you. Behaviors don't always reflect feelings. Your child may be happy about your return, but may not demonstrate it in an obvious way. Your child may be shy or even a little fearful around you at first. Be patient and give them time to become reacquainted. Now, turning to the family unit as a whole, take time to understand how your family may have changed during the separation. Get to know what new rules your spouse may have set before you jump into enforcing the household rules as you remember them or as you want them. A nice idea might be to bring everybody together for a family meeting. Consider planning some fun activities, both together as a family as well as individually with each child, making sure that each member of the family gets some special one-on-one time and attention from you, including your spouse. Plan on spending some time with the entire family, doing family things, but be flexible, especially if you have a teenager that may have other plans. Show interest and pleasure in how your family members have grown in mastering new skills while you were away, and let them know how proud you are of them. Praise the positive changes that you see. Discuss ideas together about how to shift roles and duties, as even daily rituals and chores and routines can create strong bonds if they are set up and approached with the right spirit and attitude and done together. Also, a nice idea at the conclusion of a family meeting, or even at the beginning or end of any meal for that matter, is to celebrate the strengths of each family member. You could go around the table and share something like, one of the things I missed about you was. To sum things up, how we approach the inevitable changes in our relationships is the most important thing for us to consider as we reintegrate back home. Apart from these insights, I would offer up these final tips. Regarding money, resist the temptation to go on a spending spree to celebrate your return. The extra money saved during deployment may be needed later for unexpected household expenses. Please consider your language. You are home and no longer surrounded by fellow service members, so try not to swear or use rough speech or a harsh tone of voice. Please do not overdo the alcohol consumption, and definitely never drink and drive. Remember, one bad decision can cost you everything. If you grew spiritually on your deployment, that's fantastic. Please keep that going. If you feel like your spiritual life is not what it should be, or that you need to grow spiritually, look to reconnect when you get back home. And lastly, on a serious note, if you find yourself becoming easily angered or annoyed or upset, if you find yourself anxious or overwhelmed or depressed, and especially if you have thoughts of hurting or killing yourself, or if you see that a loved one or battle buddy is struggling with any of these kinds of issues, please get help immediately. There are so many resources available to you and so many people that care about you and want to provide you with the help that you or your loved one may need. Mental health, family readiness, the Red Cross, the JAG, the VA, Military One Source, and of course, the Chaplain's office. When you don't know where to turn to us. 24/7, we will always be there for you. In conclusion, reintegration is a gradual process. Take it slow. keep your expectations realistic. Don't push the hot buttons or start unnecessary fires. Instead, show them how much you love them and how much you've missed them, both in the thoughtful way that you choose to speak to them and in the caring way that you choose to treat them. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope this brief reflection on reintegration back home has been helpful to you, and I wish you a happy and healthy homecoming. One team, one fight. God bless.